we'll keep the applause going. They only just missed each other because Alison Baxley's here now. Let's give her a nice big round of applause.
Hi.
Alison, good morning to you. How are you? Tudo bem?
Good morning. Muito bem. Tudo bem?
You sound a little breathless, if you don't mind me saying. Are you back from the school run? Has it been a busy one?
Oh my gosh, yes. My mornings are crazy. And my husband left to go back to the States this morning very, very early for a wedding that he's in. So I'm solo parenting this week.
Oh, bless you. Okay. I had a similar story. Mrs. M, my in-laws are here, so Mrs. M is staying with them. So she stayed out all night, I can say. But that sounds worse than it actually was. She's with the kids over at the in-laws. So I had a very peaceful overnight here and a peaceful morning this morning. And here we are talking about your upcoming, from the creator of Renovating Life, the new Portugal Plan Virtual Summit. Alison, this is amazing what you've created. It's truly incredible. Before we get into it, I was going to say that it's not complex. It's just such a rich offering to people who want to move to Portugal. That's what it is. Can you give us the backstory of how you discovered and came to be in Portugal yourself, please?
Yeah. Back in 2020, my husband had been given a job offer that was supposed to take us to Budapest for 1 year.
Right.
And even a little more backstory, we had moved abroad a few different times before having kids for his work, and had just enjoyed every time that we had done that. It was always temporary though, so we knew we had home to go back to, and we never really packed up and moved with the intention of staying anywhere. And then we had kids, and we were just really settled into our Brooklyn life, and had always wanted to do another stint abroad with the kids, and just waiting for the perfect opportunity to do that. So when he got that job offer, we jumped on it, and we were super excited to go to Budapest for a year. And then COVID hit and everything went down the drain and we were stuck in our Brooklyn apartment, and just really reevaluating our life, as so many people did during this time. And thought, who knows when the world's going to get back to normal? Who knows when you'll get another job offer like this? So we still wanted to move abroad, and we just said, how can we make this happen? And in about a 5-minute conversation, decided that Portugal was our favorite place on earth, and that was the place for us.
What a fantastic conversation. Right.
Literally, anytime people said, what's your favorite place that you've traveled? We would always say Portugal. So we just said, let's move to Portugal. And then that was decided. And so then we had to figure out how to make it work, which, as you know, is a lot more complicated than just saying, sure, let's pack up and go.
Yeah, it's a different matter, isn't it? On the one hand, the 5-minute conversation, it's our favorite place, let's move there. And I love a conversation that starts like that, and then you get into all the work. So you are immersed. We're immersed. You know about this from your own point of view, don't you?
Yes.
About it to live here in Portugal.
Yeah. When I started trying to research, how to make it happen, what are my options for visas and working and all of those things, and with a family of 4, it's even a little bit more complicated because you have to think of the kids and schools and everything else. So in doing my own research, I was surprised that there was not an online resource that really encompassed everything I needed to know. It was a lot of jumping back and forth from different government websites and Facebook groups and, golden visa providers, which, sort of reign king when you search moving to Portugal. It's a bunch of sponsored ads from people who offer golden visas. And so trying to figure out what we could make happen and how to do it was just a lot harder than I thought. And so I decided to start a blog about our move to Portugal and how we made it happen, and the problems that we encountered and how we overcame those things, and trying to gather as much information as possible based on our own experiences to share with other people who might also be struggling with figuring out where is the right information. So I started my blog. It's called Renovating Life. I've been doing that for just over 2 years now. And it's going really well, but it's hard to get all the right information. And I'm always, very wary of publishing anything that I think may not be true or accurate or reliable information. So it holds me back sometimes, which is why just recently I decided to do something where I could bring together a bunch of people who were experts in their spaces, so that they could share the right information with as many people as possible.
Yeah, well, you've done an incredible job. Let's just rewind slightly before we get into the Portugal Plan Virtual Summit. I have put the link if you want to sign up already. If you're already sold from what Alison says, you can use the link in the chat to go to the Portugal Plan Virtual Summit. And there's something there for people who want to move to Portugal, but I think it's also good for people who are already here. You got 45 plus speakers. We'll come back to that. And I see what you mean. I do get a sense of perfectionism from your website. You're much like Mrs. M here. I'm quick and dirty with my website and most things I do. I can see there's perfectionism in this website and an incredible attention to detail, Alison. So I completely can see what you're saying there. If you're uncomfortable with anything on your website, you don't publish it. And you have created the most incredible set of resources here. It's beautiful, great. And there is so much if you look at this resources, all the things you need. It's incredible. What a beautiful website. I did look at this and think I'm embarrassed about my website. I want to see one as great as this. And I'm sure, most people you speak to, I say, have you got a website we can look at? I say, yeah, well, I haven't done much on it. And it dates back to the 1990s or whatever, built with Navigator and some HTML. This is absolutely fantastic. So let's go through, shall we, if you look at the top there on this website, upcoming event, get your free ticket to the Portugal Plan Virtual Summit, May 15th to 19th. And here it is coming onto your screen now. Oh, no, it's not, because it's gone to a new tab very wisely. So let me just make sure. Let's make sure we have got the right website for the Portugal Plan Virtual Summit. It is amazing work. You must be very busy at the moment getting this together. And people can start by getting a free ticket on arrival, can they? There's nothing to pay unless you want to trade up to some of the other options. So tell us about the basic level, please, Alison, and what people can get access to.
Yeah, 4 speakers plus. There's been a little people have had, unfortunately, due to some things like we still have people who are scheduled to chat with the attendee. There's 40 total sessions, and with your free ticket, attend the 45 sessions. 3 are for the ticket holders, but there are 45 sessions to choose from. Your free ticket, you can do any 10 of those that you'd like. So if you're just kind of very focused on one topic, or if you just want to dip your toes a bit and get a little bit of this and a little bit of that, it's the perfect way to just choose wisely which talks really speak to you. Mm-hmm. And then if you're interested in learning more or just really like diving in completely, then you can upgrade to one of the all access passes, which gives you access to all of the sessions, plus a ton of bonuses and discounts and freebies. Our speakers have been so generous and just have added in so much value for every aspect of the summit itself. So not only have they created these amazing presentations for you, but then they've also created free resources for you to download from each talk. So most speakers have included a little PDF that you can take away that complements the talk that they've given. So if they're talking about how to exchange money, then there's a nice little 10 tips on the best way to exchange your money, things like that. So for almost every talk, we have a little resource for those, which you get when you upgrade. Plus just so many other discounts and freebies. And then there's a million prizes you can win as well. So with the free ticket, you're entered to win any of the prizes. The speakers, again, have just been so generous in offering these to everybody. So for every entry, you get an entry to, for every registration, you get entry to win one of these prizes, except for our grand prize, which is reserved for the VIP ticket holders. And There's a company called Portugal Expert, and they do bespoke relocation tours. And they have reached out to me and said, we want to be a part of this. Can we contribute something? And so they were super generous and said, let's do a $500 bespoke full day relocation tour, including up to 4 people and an hour consultation to make sure that they tailor that relocation tour to the person's needs. But yeah, there's just a lot of extra added value whenever you upgrade your ticket. So the free ticket is great. You can definitely get a lot of value out of that, depending on what kind of information you're looking for. But the upgrade options just give you, anything and everything you could possibly need to get started on your Portugal plan.
Superb. This is wonderful. So what can you expect to learn at the Portugal Plan Virtual Summit? Health and wellness are covered, family and education, housing and real estate, visas and immigration. We have got a question from Darren, actually, you might be able to help with this morning. It's Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Taxes and financial planning, lifestyle and culture. Just to recap then, the summit is for you if you want to learn from 45 plus Portugal experts and seasoned expats. Get all the information you need in 5 days. Stop wasting time endlessly searching for answers. That can happen, can't it? The old paralysis by analysis. Finally start, yes, for the procrastinators, finally start planning your move to Portugal and make your move to Portugal as easy as it should be. There you go. Half the battle is finding the right information. Now you can win that battle before it even begins. Love your website. There's a few familiar faces there as well. Carl Hyde, a few team members from the Good Morning Portugal squad there as well, and you can sign up and get your free ticket. I have put the link to it. Look at all these lovely people here from your lineup. Incredible. Some familiar faces. Some I don't know. Go on. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I originally was hoping to get about 20 speakers. And
yes.
So I did a bit of outreach to more than that, obviously, because I assumed a lot of people would say no. Or wonder, who am I? And so I reached out to a lot of people, and there was so much interest that it just really blew up. And I had a hard time saying no to anybody because they all have such valuable information to share. So I thought, look, if I'm going to do this, then let's just do it right, and let's get everybody in there.
It's a who's who, actually, Alison, isn't it? Of people who, and I think the reason why you have been overwhelmed with great speakers, perhaps, is because all of these folks here. Mrs. M's in there. Look, she's doing an using astrology to move to Portugal. I think part of the reason is because they're all so passionate about Portugal, aren't they? They want to share. These people love their jobs, if you like. They love their work, sharing and talking about Portugal and sharing in the success that's going on at the moment and interest around the world. I mean, what do you make of that? We are in a very interesting part of Portugal's history here, aren't we? You were somewhat ahead of the curve. You used the pandemic to change your plans, and here you are in your favorite country from that 5-minute conversation you had. But what do you make of what's going on at the moment and Portugal, the interest in Portugal coming from all around the world?
It's interesting to watch, to be honest. I first came to Portugal in 2012. I was here just on a vacation with 2 girlfriends. And we started our trip in Porto, and honestly, people looked at us like we were crazy. 3 blonde girls walking around from America, and they said, "Why are you here? Why are you here in Portugal?" And we're on vacation. Yes, but why here? But honestly, people did not understand why we had chosen to come to Portugal, and we thought, "You're crazy. Why wouldn't we come to Portugal? It's gorgeous.
Really?
The people are so lovely." There was just so much going for it. And we had actually been to a couple different countries on that trip. And, we really just fell in love with Portugal. So one of those girls is my best friend back home. And when I told her we were moving to Portugal, she said, "Of course you are, because it's amazing. Like, why wouldn't you? If you can, you should." But yeah, it's an interesting time because it's really ballooned since then. And since 2012, when people wondered why Americans were even in the country, to now having so many people realize the beauty and the cultural just loveliness of the country. And there's so many people moving here. It seems like a lot, I think, because as you can imagine, we're immersed with, around people who are moving. And that's sort of our jobs, right? Is to be surrounded by people who are looking to get here, or have recently come here. I don't think it's that many as people think. I mean, I think it's a lot because that's the people I talk to every day, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not becoming like another Britain or another America or another, Germany or something, even though there are pockets of those people. But I think what we should all be conscious of is making sure that we don't let Portugal get lost in this sort of great migration that's happening, and keep Portugal the way it has been and the way it should be, because it's a beautiful country. The people are just amazing, and that shouldn't get lost in this sort of, I don't know.
Well, get it. Well said. No, well said. Because and I think one of the qualities of many of your speakers who I know personally, we are mindful of this, and I think it probably comes from experience of being in other countries and how all of this sort of globalization and inward migration is managed. And we are in the middle of a political debate about it, aren't we? And I think it's great that people are mindful about even talking about this and being self-aware enough to consider it. So thank you for mentioning that. And I was talking, to Bobby this morning about before you about the Portugal Immigrant Network. I think we should organize ourselves to manage and analyze and make good our impacts, because we can't deny, can we, that in numbers we are going to have an impact. We can't just all blend in, and Brits and Americans tend to be to make themselves known in some way or other, don't they? Seems to be part of our national characteristics. But I think that can be done sensitively. And I think it's really important to have the conversation. So I look forward to having that conversation, and perhaps you being part of it if you wish to. And thank you for mentioning that, and the important matter of having a mindful migration and integration into the culture here. I noticed you're in Cascais. Actually, before we go there and your choice of where to live in Portugal, because that's my subject for the Portugal Plan Virtual Summit, is where to live. I've got to ask you why you chose Cascais. But Darren is asking, and I think you're somebody who refers, right? You said before, if you don't know the answer, you're uncomfortable about sharing a wrong answer or a misleading one, and you want to connect people with the experts on these matters. But what have you heard? Darren's asking here, why have Seth turned off the phone lines? I thought he was joking with this. I didn't think they'd actually turn the phone lines off. But what are you hearing about Seth from the various people you work with, Alison?
I try not to get too involved in the actual visa process. There's plenty of people that can help with that. It's not my cup of tea. I didn't love going through the process when I went through it, and I'm not really trying to be the visa person for anyone else, because it's cumbersome, it's tricky, and I don't get too involved with that. I didn't know that they had turned their phone lines off, so I can try to find out, but that I would have to be reaching out to my network to find that out.
Good answer. Good answer. Thank you.
I know they're turning over their services to another service. I don't know when that's happening. So perhaps there's a new phone line that we aren't aware of, because that happens a lot where things change and they don't tell anybody. So
yes, I'm very surprised. What I've heard, Darren, is that it rings out and they don't answer. And I did think you were originally joking when you said they turned off the phone line. So let's see what we can do about that. A solution I heard yesterday, somebody is paying somebody else to phone Seth for them, which of course is what happens sometimes if you use a visa processor or agency or attorneys for this. But I think the person, they just outsourced this concern and time-consuming activity of ringing Seth and asked somebody else to do it and are paying them to do it. And I said, well, they take on other clients, and they said, no, I'm not giving you. They're busy ringing up for me. So they might take on another client after they've successfully done it for that person. But that is a practical solution. Okay,
I imagine there's some kind of auto dialer service somewhere, some app that you could download.
Absolutely, which Seth have had to get used to, right? I'm not joking. It just says this is an invalid subscriber when I dial the numbers. I'm sorry, Darren, to hear this. Seth Porto rings out. The call centers don't work anymore. more. The saving grace of that perhaps is that everyone else is in the same situation. As frustrating as that must be for you, and not reflecting especially well on Seth, if everyone's in that situation, what else can you do but keep trying? What I would suggest is that you make a note, you keep a journal, if you like, of how many times you've tried, or even better still, a paper trail. At the end of each day or during the day, email them as well and say, look, I've rung you this many times, and I'll keep trying. And you have shown that you're willing, and you have been trying, and you're committed to having a conversation with them, even if they don't answer. So always have a paper trail if you can here in Portugal. Let's get back to choosing the place to live in Portugal. Obviously, Qashqai has many beautiful things going for it. What was it especially for you, Alison?
We moved here without ever visiting. We had been to Portugal several times, but we had never been to Cascais. And I was a little nervous to choose it. What ultimately did bring us here was the wonderful network of schools available to our children. So we knew we wanted to be near Lisbon, but not in Lisbon, because coming from Brooklyn, the whole point was to slow down. So we did not want to be in the city. And we were initially looking for international schools, and there's so many in this area that it just seemed like the right place to be. Eventually, we did put our kids into a private Portuguese school that has a very international feel that's here in Cascais. But that was sort of what made us choose here. And I was nervous because I didn't necessarily want to be in such an expat heavy area. I was nervous that would keep me from being able to really integrate and feel like I was in Portugal. But I will also say my idea of expats, for whatever reason, to me, that was like Americans and Brits. And I was like, I don't want to be around a bunch of Americans and Brits. And I could tell you I mean, some, but not all. But what I can tell you is the group of friends that we've been able to sort of collect since we've been here, a lot of them are expats, but only one other family is American and one Irish family. And then there's a family from Argentina, Brazil, Canada. So, I mean, it really is more diverse than I had given it credit for. And I think, that's maybe just my bias that I had coming in. But it also doesn't feel all that foreign around here. It really does have a Portuguese vibe, even if it's a bit touristy and expat extra friendly. I just had to do a presentation for a conference, and it was all about Cascais, and the population is 200,000 people, and only 10,000 of those are foreigners. So it really is popular even with Portuguese people. So it doesn't to me feel so, non-Portuguese as I was worried.
It's a truly international place, isn't it? For sure. And you've exposed one of the upsides there, haven't you, of moving to Portugal, is mixing with other people, other families from other countries who you might not have otherwise have met, and what a rich experience that is for all the kids involved in that.
It's true. At school, they have presentations all the time of all the different countries where people come from. And while it's amazing that my kids are, really immersing and understanding Portuguese culture, they're also learning about so many other cultures from around the world, which I had not really expected. And it's a really welcome surprise.
Yeah, superb. Well, let me congratulate you once more and just ask you one more question or a couple more questions before we finish at 10 and go into the Iberian FM phone-in. This, of course, is the big event that's coming up starting on the 15th of May through to the 19th. And you can get your free ticket here, and the link is in the chat. Great job on doing this. What have you discovered that you didn't know in the process of putting all of this together? Maybe how much hard work it is putting an online virtual summit together?
I really this is my life. I just decide to do something and I just start doing it. I don't think about the consequences. I mean, I have lost sleep over this. I have had dreams about this. I have cried. I have laughed. I have just all the emotions, but I'm really proud of how it's come together. I'm really proud of the list of speakers I was able to get involved. And I know that even the free ticket, with the limited access that you do get, you will get your questions answered if you want them answered. You'll find the information you need, and it's going to make your move to Portugal just a little bit easier.
Yeah, superb. Okay, and just one more thing then. You've chosen Cascais, and my topic is where to live in Portugal. Have you had a chance to visit? I mean, sometimes people move to Portugal and they've got the intention of moving around Portugal and taking in the culture, going to various parts, going across Europe. And sometimes it doesn't happen for 2 or 3 years thereafter. Have you managed to travel around Portugal and Europe very much?
We have actually. The first year that we were here, we mostly stayed around Portugal. We did do a Christmas trip to France, but
Oh, lovely.
we mostly traveled, up north to Porto, down to the Algarve, several different locations, and really just tried to take in as much of Portugal as we could, given the breaks that we had. And then the second year, we kind of went the opposite direction and said, no, we're going to see as many countries as we can. So since we moved here, I think we've visited over 10 different countries in Europe and beyond. So my husband always jokes, like, when the calendar for school comes out, watch the bank account, because I'm going to start booking stuff. I don't let there be any breaks without us, going off and exploring something.
Oh, superb. Well, you're making the most of life here in Portugal. If others want to do the same, and we know that a lot of our viewers for this particular show will do so later on today and into the evening and in the coming days and weeks. This, I think, is aimed especially at you. Get your free ticket for this Portugal Plan Virtual Summit that Alison Baxley has so diligently lost sleep over and cried over this, and in the process has put together the most incredible lineup for you, 45 plus speakers, and free gifts and all sorts, and a prize draw. So get your free ticket there. Get involved. Alison, you're most welcome to come back to the show anytime you like. Congratulations on doing this. Thank you for what you're doing for Portugal as well. If I may thank you on behalf of the Portuguese government. I have no, I've got no position to do so or official validation.
I'll take it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's amazing what you're doing,
Yeah.
and you're making an impact here, and bringing Portugal to the attention of people. All the wonderful things about this wonderful country will be known further afield because of you. So thanks very much. Come back anytime you like, and have a great day and have a very successful conference.
Thank you so much.
Ciao, ciao. Bye for now.
Ciao.
Wonderful. There she goes, Alison Baxley. We have got, let me just put that on the screen one more time for you there. Get all your questions answered about moving to Portugal. 5 days, 15th to the 19th of May, without wasting hours and hours on research. Get your free ticket there. I have sent you a link. Well, I've put the link in the chat. And for those of you who are listening later, who may be over there in North America thinking about your move here, there is a link in the sleeve notes, as it were, on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're tuned in to this. Okay, let's use these last few minutes to share a few more things on the screen with you that I didn't get around to earlier on. Oh, I didn't share the dad jokes with either Alison or they could be sent to Mr. Baxley, who's, I think, flown early to the United States. I get the feeling he's flown early to the United States this morning. I get the feeling he might like a dad joke or two. Let's see if these are suitable for such a transmission. Oh, João F is just in. Good morning, everybody. I just popped in to say hello. I've been missing my GMP morning. Sadly, I am going through a very, very busy time. It's spring going into summer. It's always like this, isn't it, if we recall? Thus not getting around to be with you as often as I'd like. Well, it's great to see you here. It's great to see you on the GMP VIP platform. Antonio F is pleased to see you. And whenever you can fit us in, we're delighted to see you, João F. A couple of things to share with you then. This was the visual dad joke from earlier on. Thank you very much to James for this. What's the difference between an alligator and a crocodile? I believe the main difference is that one you will see later and the other you will see in a while. I could be wrong. I'm not a zoologist. Didn't stop you sharing that, though, did it, James? Thank you very much for that. And as I said, I was spotted, apparently, so I'm told, in the Algarve, where it is still possible to buy a good value home. This is Castro Marin, village house in Tanaero in Castro Marin. Is that the Algarve? Paul Richards sent me this. The crestfallen man who sung the praises of the Algarve beautifully on last Thursday's Battle of the Best Place to Live in Portugal. He did a great job. Jerry threw for Central Portugal, but he sent me this to say that there is still some value property available in the Algarve. Look, 17 grand for that. Bit of a fixer-upper, it has to be said, but I think that is Castro Marin, not in Lisbon. but in the Algarve there. Thank you very much for that, Paul. Staying in the Algarve, thank you to Gumper Clive, who sent me this picture. He said, I saw you in the Algarve. Is that me, really? I actually, that I can see a similarity and a resemblance there on me mandolin. And there, yes, I do understand that. And we've got video as well, so you can enjoy the music, where apparently I'm joined by Mrs. M undercover as well. I like the cut of his jib. Happy to be a brother from another mother with some facial similarities with that character. That's superb. Thank you so much, Clive, Funketeer, and Gumper Clive, sending that in. Spotted in, was that in Lagos, Clive there? Okay, time for a little bit of Iberian FM phone in. If you want to call in, the number to do so, 913-590-303. Be right back after this. Oh, there I am. Okay, back again. 913-590-303. If there's something that is grinding your gears, something you want to get off your chest, that's the number to call. Better make sure we're connected, haven't we? I do believe we are. If you want to call in, do so now. A couple of things to share with you, including those dad jokes I still didn't get around to. Let me find those for you. We did give the game away with the first one, which is, if ever I'm known as the one who got away, it will be from an asylum, guilty as charged. A recent study says 1 in 3 people will be injured during sex this year. The rest are just doing it wrong. And I just read seriously, I just read that someone in London gets stabbed every 52 seconds. Poor fella, I'm going to say. Very good. Thank you very much for all of those. No dad joke warning issued, but maybe a trigger warning. We haven't played this for a little while, but this can happen on the phone in. Nothing too controversial this morning, but you never know, do you? You don't know what controversial is for somebody else.